Hey everybody, good morning. Got my coffee down here early. It's early in a condo. Today we're going to talk about delusion. You have to be delusional to manifest. So I might actually go down here and sit down so we can have a little chat. Just because I got my coffee in this hand, I got the phone in this hand. It's kind of like a little bit weird. Sometimes I like to switch hands as I'm walking. So I'll find a seat. We're kind of sit down, have a little chat here, and talk about delusional and why we have to be delusional. Okay, we have to be a little bit cray cray. We have to be a little bit crazy. I mean, to some people, they're going to think this is crazy stuff. But I'll explain why here in a second. Okay, before we get started here, I have the pool right behind me. This is the swimming section of the pool. They have like a long, it goes kind of the length of the condo complex. So people do laps there. Then the big pool's down here. Just in case you want to know. But anyway, let's talk about delusion. Let's talk about why we have to be delusional. Okay, so when we think about the subconscious mind, okay, at this point, most people know about the subconscious mind at this point. Okay, if you don't, there's a lot of videos on my channel. So this isn't a video for me to really go into the subconscious mind, but there's a lot of videos on my channel that goes into the subconscious mind if you're a beginner or if you just want like a recap on it. But what we have to remember, our subconscious mind is very, very illogical. It's irrational. Lots of times, like if you study with Joseph Murphy, like The Power of the Subconscious Mind, a lot of time in that book, that's a huge, fantastic book, but he gives the subconscious mind so many nicknames throughout that book. Sometimes he'll call it the subjective mind. Sometimes he'll even call it the irrational mind. It's not rational. Okay, it's illogical. That's the subconscious mind. So that's why, like once, like even if you follow never Galler, you go inside your imagination, you drift off to sleep. Because once you influence your subconscious mind, this is what you have to understand. Once you influence it, once you give it something that it just accepts as fact, okay, it's going to make it happen. It's going to start coming into your reality. And it's not it doesn't have a logical sequence of events. Okay. Our conscious mind, okay, this is our waking mind. I'm awake right now. Okay. Our conscious mind is very logical. It's very rational. Okay. Like, for example, let's say I used to work in the entertainment industry for like 15 years. And let's say somebody wanted to be an actor. This is how the conscious mind works. It's very rational, very logical. There's an order sequence of events that you have to do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can't just skip from 1 to 10. Okay. That's how your conscious mind works. It's like, oh, if you want to be an actor, you got to start taking acting classes. You have to have an acting coach. Okay. You have to start auditioning. Then your mind might say you have to do 30 or 40 auditions in 1 month to get one part. Okay. You have to start networking. You have to do all these things. You see, this is how the rational mind works. I'm not saying that all this stuff is bad. It's not. But our conscious mind is very rational, very logical. You have to do step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. Our subconscious mind, is complete opposite. Okay. It's not logical. It follows no logic, and it's irrational. Okay. Bottom line. What do those terms mean? If your subconscious mind follows no logic, it makes no sense at all. It makes no sense at all how it's going to come into your world. It's irrational. It follows no sequence of events. So to the subconscious mind, if you want to be an actor, you want to be a star, how your subconscious mind works and thinks about it, well, you can go from step 1 to step 10. You can skip all the middle part. See, that's what I mean by irrational. That's what I mean by delusion. You have to be delusional a little bit in your thinking. Just like Jesus said, like you can call what you want into existence. Okay, you speak out loud what you want. But what's happening is, when you go into your 4D world, Okay, that's your imagination. That's your imaginal world. You call what you want into reality. So what that means is I'm calling what I want into reality before I get it, before I see it. To some people, that's delusion. You know what I mean? Let's say, like, if you want your dream car, and I tell you, well, do you have a car right now? And you might say yes. And it's like, well, every time you drive your car, every time you go out and get in your car, every time you look at your car, every time you see your car parked outside in your garage or your parking lot or wherever you park it, every time you're walking to your car, I want you to pretend you're walking to your dream car. When you're driving your car right now, I want you to pretend you're driving your dream car. Okay, when you're at home and you look out the window, see if your car's out there, I want you to pretend you're looking at your dream car. Okay, this is delusion. Some people might think, Chad, you're crazy. But this is the same concept. If you follow Neville Goddard, when Neville Goddard says live in the end, dwell in the end, what is living in the end, dwelling in the end means you act as if. You act as you have what you want. Okay, you put yourself in that state that you have it already. You walk around all day. Maybe it's days, maybe it's weeks, or it's months that you're already having your dream car. Okay, how would you feel? Okay, same way if you want to be a millionaire. You act as if you are already a millionaire. You act as if you already have $15 million in the bank. You have to be delusional. Okay, you have to have some delusion in your thinking a little bit because, and this is why I always suggest you have to study. You have to come up with some type of studying routine. Set little routines for yourself throughout the day. Okay, you can't. And I brought this up in my video I did yesterday. I didn't post it yet because I'm always like filming and uploading and stuff and all that jazz. But the thing is with studying is we've learned bad habits when we study. We've learned in school, no matter how far we went with school. Okay, no matter if we stopped in high school, no matter if we stopped in college, how far we went, the bad habit bleeds over to both. Is the whole cramming thing. You know, cram. You cram before a test, you can get an A. You cram before a test, you can get an A. But this is what I found out when I went to college. That stuff didn't work for me. Okay. And all my friends, everybody I knew, all my acquaintances in my classes, when they crammed and got an A, they still didn't know nothing. Isn't it ironic? Okay, you cram, you got an A, you think you know things, you think you know all this material, but you really don't because you're only good at just memorizing, regurgitating information quickly. Then a couple days later, you totally forgot about what you memorized because you didn't really learn it. You're not really learning the material. You've increased that muscle in your brain, that memorizing muscle that you memorize short term, and then out of sight, out of mind after you regurgitate the information back. You're not really learning the information. Then when we get in the areas of success, we try to adapt the same thing, but it doesn't work. We use that cramming lifestyle and it doesn't work. You know, we get into books, people tell you books to read, maybe it's Think and Grow Rich or Science of Getting Rich or The Power of the Subconscious Mind or all these books. And you think, oh, I'm going to get these books, I'm going to cram them in for over the weekend. Then you never open the book again. Then you walk around, oh yeah, I read this book, Chad. I read Think and Grow Rich. It's a great book. It's a great read. But what did you get out of it? Okay. I've read that book too. And honestly, as I sit here, I've read that book probably, I don't want to say 1,000 times. I don't know if it's quite that high. But I've read that book probably hundreds of times. I'm not lying. I'm not joking. I took 1 year. This was back in, I don't know, it was back in 2016-ish, something like that. I forget. But I took the whole year, I only read one book, and it was Think and Grow Rich. And I read it over and over and over again. So I created this routine that I was going to read a chapter a day. And Think and Grow Rich is 15 chapters. So I was going to read a chapter a day. So that means in about 2 weeks, about half the month, I was going to finish the book. Then I would start the book over again. So every month I would read the book at least or a minimum of 2 times. Sometimes I would read it 3 times, or sometimes I would read a couple chapters in a day. So every month I'm reading the book at least 2 times. At the end of the year, I read it 24 times. That's what I did. Okay, for a whole year. And I still pick up the book and still read it. So that's how we study. Okay, some of this stuff, especially with Joseph Murphy, I'm going through some Joseph Murphy stuff right now in some of my videos. And, he just has stuff that's just little clippets. I mean, 1, 2, 3 paragraphs, and that's it. And you can digest that stuff all day long. You can chew on it for a couple of days to try to get this stuff to sink in and get a deeper meaning to it. That's how you have to study. Okay, just stop trying to do this stuff fast. Stop trying to do this stuff where you don't understand it or you conceptually understand. But how you know it's not working for you because you don't like things in your 3D world. You don't like things what's going on. Okay, things are not coming to you. Okay, it's just your 3D world is just a self-reflection of what's within you, of your thoughts and habits and stuff like that. But anyway, let's get back to delusion. Getting off on a flipping tangent here. You have to be delusional in your thinking. Okay, it's not logical. It's irrational. It's not rational. It's not logical. It's a little bit crazy to act as if. Call things into existence that's not even here yet. Okay, that's delusion. Okay, it's even saying things like here. I live in a big complex here in Thailand. I didn't walk over to the parking to show you, but the parking, this whole place. Let me see if I can. It's not even do justice here. This whole place. If you go down through here, it wraps around the whole building. There's 700 units here. Okay, out of 700 units, when you go into parking, there's only 200 parking spaces. Put some logic on that, why don't you? So you can guess when I say that to you, 700 units, 200 parking spaces. So you can guess that parking is an issue here. Okay. But am I going to let that bother me? Sometimes it bothers me. Okay. Sometimes I'm just like, what the hell's going on? You know what I mean? I don't want to go out at night and come home and have no parking. Then on top of that, with parking, they'll let people come in that don't live here and park here. They'll let visitors come in and park here. They'll let staff park in a parking place. In the parking, when it's like there's not even enough parking for the residents. I mean, it's common sense, duh. but it's like the same thing. I just create almost like a robotic affirmation every time I go down to get my motorbike. I'm like, I have the best parking spot. Okay, we're driving home, I'm gonna get the best parking spot. Call things what you want into existence. Okay, stop focusing on things that you don't like. Even for myself, it's a habit of focusing on things that we don't like. Okay, or we're focusing on things we don't like, or what we see in our 3D world. What's happening is something's occurring that we don't like, and we're focusing on it. We're stuck to it. Okay, rather than bring no energy to it. Don't let it affect you. Walk around it. You know what I mean? So the same thing happens to me. I mean, just because Thailand's an excellent choice. Thailand's an excellent example because it's a different country, different culture. They do things differently here. They're going to do things that you're just not used to. You know what I mean? Or it's easy to sit there and say, well, back in the States, we don't do this. You know what I mean? There can be positive and negative sides to this. That could, if my mind can be easily to run down the rabbit hole. Okay. If I'm not careful, this is what I'm saying. If you're not careful with what you're thinking about, your mind will run down the rabbit hole on the negative side. Same thing happens to me. I got to work on this stuff just like you do. I got to stay on track just like you do. Bottom line, okay? No matter how master you are at manifesting, if you're not careful of what you think about, you're going to go backwards. You're going to drift right back. Okay, thinking on the negative, thinking things you don't like, thinking how awful life is. Okay, why does this keep on happening to me? Okay, if I let my mind drift in that direction, I do the same thing. Trust me. Okay, and I did the same thing, in here in Thailand for a little while. Then I just snapped out of it. Said, dude, I can't. I'm not enjoying myself here because I'm just so focused on what I don't like. Even though I live in a beautiful place, it's easy. We can live in a beautiful place, but then we focus on things we don't like. And once we focus on things we don't like, it steals our joy. That's what you have to understand. Okay, if I constantly think about the parking issues, it's going to steal my joy. If I constantly thinking about that, well, why is security letting people in that don't live here? That doesn't happen in the United States. It's going to steal my joy. Okay, if I constantly think about the juristic office has little money schemes going on, it's going to steal my joy. Okay, so we can't dwell on things we don't like. And this is what it comes up to. This is delusion. Just like when Neville Goddard talks about revising your day. This is delusion. You have to be delusional a little bit. You say, well, Chad, how do we fix it? How do I fix things I don't like? And this is the thing I do. I revise my day. I'm really getting more of a habit on revising my day. And, and usually sometimes it doesn't mean that I have to sit back and do a 30-minute meditation to revise my day. I mean, I can just think for like 5 seconds and I've already done it. And that's the best way to do this stuff. Stop making this stuff harder than what it is. Stop thinking like, well, Chad, I don't have time to sit down and do an hour meditation. I don't have time to sit down and do a 30-minute meditation. Okay. I'm not talking about that. But yet you have time for 4 hours a day to play on TikTok. You know what I mean? But this is how revising your day goes. And I'm giving you real examples, real things I flip and struggle with. Is, my mind goes in the gutter and I start, the parking's behind this bush right here. If this big bush wasn't here, right there, you could see the parking. And when my mind starts going in the gutter and I start thinking about the parking and it starts making me irritated and the lack of parking here and stuff like that, once I catch myself, I'll sit back for a second. And now if I'm upstairs in my room, sometimes I close my eyes. It helps me focus. Sometimes my eyes are open, but I just go inside my imagination and I just see the parking lot. I just see it clear. I see plenty of spaces available. I see myself driving in and I have the perfect spot. It's always there. Okay. That's revising your day. You revising your day is you're taking a scene that you don't like and it can actually happen to you, and you revise it to how you wanted that to go, how you wanted that to happen. You revise it in your mind. Then you move on with your day. The same way, if I start griping about security, they keep on letting people in here that don't live here. I revise it. I go inside my imagination and I see them being way more stricter. Same way with the juristic office. I do the same thing. And you'd be surprised, honestly, if you really do this. This is how you control the simulation. This is how you honestly get things to go your way a little bit. Is because what we end up doing, we start fighting the 3D. We start fighting our 3D world. Okay. We start trying to control the 3D world, meaning like I fight my 3D, meaning I'll go and argue with the security guards. I'll go and argue with the juristic staff. okay, about them letting people in or parking and stuff like that. That's me fighting the 3D. That means coming right up against it. But what's a better way to do it? Is is be delusional a little bit. Okay, we know how to do all this stuff. It's how do you control your simulation? How do you get what you want? When you want to manifest, how you control all this stuff? You control it in your imagination. You revise your day. You go in, and what you see eventually going to come to you. Okay, if I go to sleep at night and I go to sleep in a state where I see and I'm talking to security outside, and they're really strict. They're stopping people, no matter what the reason why they're being really strict. I start seeing that. Guess what? It's going to happen. If I start revising the day and go in some imagination, I see how juristic office is nicer. They're being stricter. They're not letting people in here that shouldn't be here. It's going to happen. You know what I mean? That's how you control. You don't control your simulation by going into the 3D world, the world you see right now. You control it in your imagination. You control it in the 4D. The 4D world is your imagination. This is how we control everything. We control it from within. Remember, manifesting is from within out. So you control it from within. But this is delusion. If I was talking about this to somebody that didn't believe this material at all, they would think I was crazy. Chad, you're crazy. Chad, oh, this is a new age type of thing you're talking about. But it's all over spiritual text. You know what I mean? You have to be delusional. When you call something into existence you don't see yet, then you pretend you already have it. What is that? It's delusion. You have to be delusional a little bit. Okay? And what helps you is understanding how the subconscious mind works. If you know the subconscious mind is irrational, that's not logical, your subconscious mind just takes it as true. Whatever you give it, whatever you influence your subconscious mind with, it has to give it to you. It has to. Your only job is to control what you're influencing your subconscious mind with. That's your only job. Okay, controlling the how, that's not for you. Okay, you don't walk around figuring out how it's going to happen. You give that to God. You let it go. That's your subconscious mind, spiritual mind handling that. That's why it's very irrational, very not logical, because it's going to put things in place for you to get exactly what you want. We can't explain it. We can't really explain how it happens, except that's the power we have. The power is within us. The power of I am is within us. God is in us. The Spirit is within us. We have the same power of God. We have the same power as Jesus. Jesus said all over the New Testament, all the miracles he performed, we can do, and we can do even more. This is what he said. But people don't want to, even pastors don't want to believe it. Well, Chad, that's not what he really meant. He meant this. Then they put some type of limitation on it. And it's like, well, where are you getting this limitation from? Because this is exactly what it's saying in the Hebrew text. You know what I mean? So if you have the power of God within you, you can have anything you want. But it just takes confidence. It takes a little bit of delusion. It takes a little bit you feeling crazy a little bit. But what helps what helps my confidence, a couple things here. Okay, to get confident with doing this stuff. I mean, for one, is manifesting little things. When you feel that something's came into your life that you wanted, you manifested, that should increase your confidence. Like, this works. You shouldn't have a small little voice saying, well, it's just a coincidence. I mean, try this. Try waking up, going to sleep at night, and saying, someone's going to give you a free cup of coffee. You start focusing on that. Someone's going to give me a free cup of coffee. I'm going to get a free cup of coffee today. Thank you, Lord. I'm going to get this. It's coming. and you're exact about it. You let it go, but you don't care about it. But I mean, I can just buy myself a cup of coffee. Not a big deal. But what you'll find is that will end up happening. You know what I mean? Wake up, and start thinking like, I'm in Thailand. This is perfect for Thailand. Perfect. Is that I hardly see butterflies here in Thailand. Even in Ohio, when I go back home, sometimes I hardly see butterflies like I did when I was a kid. They're flying all around. It's definitely in Thailand. If I start focusing on butterflies, I go to sleep in that state, seeing beautiful butterflies. Guess what will happen? Eventually, one day I'm going to wake up, I'm going to be going somewhere. I'm going to see butterflies all over the place, beautiful, beautiful butterflies. Because that came into my world because I influenced my subconscious mind with it. Start playing with little things. These little things should be increasing your confidence. Now, this is what Neville Goddard said. Neville Goddard said that when he gave the ladder technique, the whole point of the ladder technique was to prove law of assumption was real, prove that imagination does create reality. The reason why he picked the ladder is because why in the world do you want to climb a ladder? You've maybe even climbed a ladder hundreds of times in your lifetime. Why do you want to do it? There's no need to do it. Why? Okay. Or maybe you're scared of heights, so you're sitting there telling yourself, dude, I'm scared of heights. I just don't, no, I don't even think about it. Not doing it. Next thing you know, you find yourself up, climbing a ladder for some reason. It worked. So these simple things, even though what Goddard said, if you manifest a cup of coffee, how you manifested a cup of coffee, you just as easily could have manifested your dream car. You might say, well, Chad, you're delusional. But the same way you manifested a cup of coffee, you could have just as easily manifested your dream house. You could have just as easily manifested $1 million. It's true. Okay. You have to be delusional. You have to be delusional in your thinking. You want success, you want millions of dollars, you have to be delusional. It's delusional when someone says, Chad, I want to be a millionaire. And it's like, well, start acting like a millionaire. That's delusion. Okay. Well, Chad, I don't know how a millionaire acts. Well, do some research. Get on Google. Start looking at things. Start looking at your lifestyle. Start looking at lifestyle. You have to do some homework here, guys. Come on. Go on Google. Everybody has internet nowadays. You just pull up your phone and pull up things. Start researching. If you don't know the lifestyle you want, start doing your homework and start researching the lifestyle you want. The cars you want, the house you want, the charities you want to give to, the type of job you're going to have, if you're going to help people. No matter what you want, it doesn't matter. But start doing some research, and that will clarify your lifestyle that you want. You'll get better and better and better with it. That's why they always say, even Neville Goddard said the same thing. Napoleon Hill said the same thing. Joseph Murphy said the same thing. Thomas Troward would say the same thing. The more specific you are, the better the outcome. Okay. If I say, if I want to manifest a car and I'm broad, my intention is just so broad, like, oh, I want a free car. I want a free car. They're gonna give me a free car. I want that. I want a free car. Or I want a car. I want a car. Eventually, I'll get a car, but it might be a car that I don't like. Okay, but manifesting worked. But I was broad. I still got what I wanted, but I said any car. So I got a car. Might not be a car I wanted, but I got a car. Then you learn and you think, okay, I want a 2024 Porsche Twin Turbo 911. Blood orange with a black trim up on it. I want a hardtop with a giant sunroof on it. I don't want a convertible, but the giant sunroof that goes across it. Be specific. The more specific, the better it is. But you have to be delusional again. But anyway, friends, I'm going to let you go. I've talked for like 30 minutes. So, but it's Sunday, my time. It's Sunday morning. So in the States, depending upon where you live in the States, if you're on the East Coast, it's a 12-hour difference from Thailand. So if it's Sunday morning here, it means it's nighttime. It's Saturday night in the East Coast. Now, if you live on the West Coast, that's another. You attach another 3 hours to that, to 12 hours. So I believe it's about 15 hours. So, but it's still Saturday in the States, even though it's Sunday morning here. But just want to come down. It's going to start to get loud here. People starting to swim and stuff like that. But blessings to you. Remember, I love you guys. If you have questions, comment below, and I'll help you out as much as I can. But anyway, peace, and I'll see you in the next video.